Today let us discuss about China. World is facing problems from China and so is India. China is expanding left and right. It is not respecting the boundaries with its neighbors. China shares its boundaries with 14 neighbors, but with most of them it has disputes, and it always tries to grab territories of neighbors. Its practice has been to not define the territories with neighbors in a clear way, keep it limbo, and walk 10 steps, and when there's a dispute, get back 8 steps so that 2 steps are still with you. Now, this is also known as salami slicing tactics. In this way, it has been expanding in various areas. It had a dispute with India. Recently, it created a dispute with Bhutan also by claiming some part of eastern Bhutan. It has dispute with Vietnam in sea area, and it does not recognize Taiwan. It has dispute with Japan for some islands. With Russia, it is claiming Vladivostok. With Pakistan, it has already extracted the Saksham Valley area of POK, and from India, it has already taken the Aksai chain area, which is about 38,000 square kilometers of area. Still, its rapacity and recalcitrance is not abating. This is basically because of reason that China's economy is an overheated economy. It is about 14 trillion USD economy. So, economy backed with military powers, they are good at reverse engineering, is causing so much of problem to the world. Even world peace is threatened. Many people say that there can be a third world war, but I personally feel there is no third world war. But still, China needs to be civilized, it needs to be controlled to save world from contagion and conflagration of any type of further war. There is need for peace in the world. Why this is happening? Let us see the history of China. China was ruled by a number of dynasties, and it had wars with Westerners. It had wars with Britishers and many other countries. Earlier, about 3 centuries back, these are 2 opium wars by which China was opened, and the territories of China were parceled among the countries of world who had spheres of influence in Chinese area. There was rebellion in China also by Boxer Rebellion, which was suppressed. The Chinese Empress that time was one CC. And then in 1912, a nationalist party came under the leadership of Sun Yat-sen. Sun Yat-sen also could not totally unify China. Then Mao under Communist Party started emerging there in China. Gradually, communists were able to drive away the nationalists from China, and the nationalists shifted to an island by name Formosa, now known as Taiwan, under the leadership of that time Chiang Kai-shek. So China has distrust of Western powers, and its prosperity, its economy is forcing it to expand in both economic way and as well as territorial way. So, and the Chinese also had, feeling of superiority all along. They always treated themselves as a middle kingdom, as central kingdom, as civilized kingdom. They call it in their language Zhongyeo. And they thought that they were surrounded by barbarians. So that feeling of superiority and now economic power, plus their coming of communism, which has communism does not believe in God. It treats religion as opiate of masses, as it was stated by Karl Marx. China adopted communism, but now they are a capitalist country. for only name their communism. But still, the moral scruples and compunction are missing. So any means fair, foul, deceit, chicanery, they're masters at it, and that is what they're adopting in their practices with the world powers and world people. So, and then they also had philosophers there. Lao Tse was there, who gave Taoism. Confucius was there. There were other philosophers also. They made some very good structures in China. That is the Great Wall, which started in BC and it continued in AD period also. That wall was created to save them from nomads and barbarians. They also made what is known as Forbidden City in China, which is city within city. It is a layered city, and the same is very beautiful with good architecture and good colors as well. So all these have given overconfidence to China, and coupled with their economic superiority, coupled with their not believing in religion, it all forces them to adopt a number of practices to expand. So now what should be done with China to control it? And if I can use the word, to civilize China. China definitely, I feel, needs to be civilized so that they have the right type of behavior in the Committee of Nations. What should be done? What India should do, especially, and world at large. India, like other parts of the world, has been importing a huge quantum of goods as well as services from China. And apart from core imports in like chemicals, some components, some drug intermediates, there has been import of finished goods also. There has been import of consumer goods also. Very, day-to-day use consumer goods also. This has been draining our wealth and emboldening China. So we need to recalibrate our behavior with China, both at governmental level and at personal level, at business level also, that imports have to be controlled and curbed. And in place of that, we need to go for industrialization in the required areas. Organizations like FICCI and CII, ASSOCHAM, PhDCCI, they also need to add one vertical in their working, in their mandate, and one of them should be to establish new industries wherever required, to give all support to new industries so that we march ahead in the area of self-reliance, and the dependence on imports is less, and we are turned out to be bigger exporting power. So this is one, curtailing of imports. And also we need to support people of, say, Tibet. Tibet needs to get independence. The Uyghurs of Xinjiang, we need to support them also. These and Tibetans are maltreated by Chinese. That's what the information we get. People of Hong Kong also need our support. The Taiwanese people also need our support. So we should support them by having friendship societies and by holding seminars and discussions at important locations across the world. And that should be given wide publicity by media, so that it creates a type of moral pressure on China if they at least have something of this sort. Then we have been very rather restrained, and rightly so, in our dealing with China. But now a time has come that we should also show our, grievances. We should call a spade a spade. Like, take the example of Aksai Chin. I think the parliament should adopt a resolution. Even a private member can bring a resolution to say that Aksai Chin belongs to India and that China should return it back to India. And then this should be one Then we have to go also for defense, better defense needs, preparations. Definitely government is doing that, but we must be fully prepared in that area, those areas, so that we are more self-reliant. And standing with the people, excise chain resolution, curbing import, military areas. These are certain things which came to my mind. And also we should have more, fraternity with people of Tibet who are in our country, largely in our country. And we should demand complete independence of Tibet. That should be supported by various organizations in India. And the Tibet people definitely will come with that. So I feel some of these steps, there are many other steps, are required to be little proactive as far as dealings with China is concerned. So these in the long term may bear some fruit and will help us or help the world to, what I repeat again, to civilize China. China needs to be civilized. Thanks a lot.